Welcome to Under the Cloche and welcome back to your new local. Are we comfortable now? Because I'm in that phase now where I have my favourite seat in my local.
I like it when you sit on the footstool.
Yeah, can we not get another chair?
Yeah.
Like, you say, are we comfortable? No, we haven't got a fourth chair.
I quite like a stall at a bar, though. If you go into a pub that you haven't been to, I always opt for a bar seat.
That's why America's
Is that because you're on your own?
Often.
Right.
And then you can make conversation with the bar staff.
That wasn't... Don't look at me like that.
That was so horrible.
Actually correct many a time. But do you know what? You cannot beat a good pub, a good bar stool, a good pint, and a good book.
At what point do we transfer to the beer garden of the Bell's End? Because, you know, it's getting warmer and we don't need log fires and everything now. We need a beer garden with an umbrella.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Can it?
Next year, probably.
Right. Okay.
Series 4.
If you're watching this and you have access to a beer garden where we can record a podcast...
So I've got a tenuous link to our guest today. Have any of you had any interesting meets recently?
Wow, how long did it
Meetups?
take you to think of that?
No, is it like things you've put in your mouth?
Oh,
Meat.
Wow,
Food,
that makes it
food,
better.
food.
Lovely, great.
To be honest, I've been addicted to hot cross buns recently. I just can't eat anything else.
I know, same. Have you had
I love a
apple and
toasted
cinnamon
hot cross
one?
bun.
Yeah, from Sainsbury's. The taste
Amazing!
I can taste the difference. They are so good.
I know.
They're all. I want to
What
eat
are
them
you
now.
They're my favourite thing. I can't stop snacking on them. They're so much better than just traditional.
What?
Traditional.
Huh?
Beer.
How are you spelling
Traditional.
that?
Do you think they've got those in the little Sainsbury's next door to the studio? Because we could get them at lunchtime.
I don't think they have, because I'm
No.
near a Sainsbury's local and they don't have it in mine. They only have their
Okay.
bog standard ones, not the extended range.
Make a great bar snack. We'd have to put some like pig's cheek on them or something, wouldn't we? For Billy.
Yeah, the question is, what are we making Billy as a bar snack?
What are you making Billy as a bar snack?
Well, we've heard that he's a phenomenal butcher. He is one of the finalists of Young Butcher of the Year.
I
He's
wanna know how that
chief
works.
sausage maker. Rumour is he's even bringing us sausages, but the chances are they won't be cooked. So I've made him a sausage roll.
Okay.
So a roll to put sausage in.
No. An all butter puff pastry sausage roll.
So hang on a second. We invite one of the best butchers in the UK in, who is chief sausage maker, and to impress him, you've made sausage rolls.
You put yourself out there to be absolutely shot down in flames.
I'm going to be honest.
And I'm going to listen and watch along.
I went a twist on the flavour. I don't know if he would have had the flavour we're making, so we're kind of keen to learn from him how he makes his sausages, but I want him to try mine too.
What I'm interested in knowing, he's a young guy, right?
Yeah.
Competitively, how are you crowned? Okay, runner-up. But how competitively do you compete in Young Butcher of the Year? Like, what do they get you to? I don't know. Is there like a meaty obstacle course? I imagine it like Crufts, but with like offal. Or
The thing is,
do you have judges coming around and watching how you
There's
roll
so
a
much-
porchetta?
We've made sausages in the studio with the sausage machine, and it's quite a technique and an art form to
Yeah,
it.
it's hard enough not making any innuendos. Yeah.
I want to know about the rivalries. Like, there's the friendships and things like that, but when it gets serious, how serious does it get? I've been watching a lot of Netflix sports documentaries, you know, like Full Swing, Drive to Survive, the NASCAR one.
So
all
who's
of those.
his sausage nemesis?
Exactly.
And you've got to be careful, because that environment, there are knives, there's blood, it's already present. So
Who's
you've
your
got to be
sauce
careful.
Nez? Yeah.
Who's your Sosnez?
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, we'll ask him.
Sosnem.
Yeah, that's the one thing we want out of him.
Yeah.
We'll ask him.
Who's your Sosnem? That's what I'm interested in.
So, how does the qualification work, and what's his sausage nemesis?
yeah.
Such a highbrow podcast. I love it.
Welcome to the pub.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making yourself at home.
Oh, definitely.
Now, it's a bit weird, but every guest that we have in the pub, the first thing we ask them is a question about their dream meal, but we like to get quite specific about this. So we like to think about not just the food, but the situation that you're in, what you've been doing. And what we think this all leads to is something that we like to call a foodgasm.
Okay.
So what is the situation, the location, what you've been doing, and the meal that could lead you to have a foodgasm?
Spicy, crispy Buffalo wings.
Question I have is how important is the celery in that equation? You know, it's always served with celery.
Throw that away.
Okay.
Just the meat and the sauce.
Evans.
You don't
It's
need
true though.
With the
It's
celery.
always got the blue cheese and the celery.
I can't have cheese.
Oh, you can't eat cheese?
No, we sack that off.
Okay, fine.
We sack it off.
Just hot, spicy
Just
wings.
hot, spicy wings with maybe a pint
Oh, pint of
or neck oil
neck oil.
Neck oil.
Nice.
or Guinness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thing is, we're kind of expanding out our pub specials menu
Yeah.
with all of our favourite people's favourite foods. So I think buffalo wings
Yeah.
going on the list.
I think buffalo wings could go on the list. Absolutely. We go for a nice hot. Yeah.
Like a vinegary
You
hot.
don't want the mild. Nah, you want the spicy, like ruin your mouth. Yeah, that's what you want.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming down to the pub today. You've got an incredible story and background about becoming Britain's runner-up to the Young Butcher of the Year,
Yeah.
which is an incredible place to get to. How did that journey start?
I turned 16. I finished school, started college, and my mum turned around to me, get a job. So my mum told me to do something. I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a job. My auntie was working at Aubrey Allen at the time. She recommended my name. I got a job interview. It was working interview. They offered me the job, told me to come in on a really, really busy Saturday. And after that, I survived the busy Saturday. So they said, come on Monday. So ever since then, I was Saturday, Monday for 2.5 years. And I started full time.
Because I don't know many people that are still doing their first job now.
No, it's true. And thrown in the deep end as well. Not like
very
a
deep.
crash course, like a chance to like build up to it. It's just straight in with busy Saturday service. And in that, were you working sort of customer facing
Yep.
in the shop?
Yep. I had
Wow.
no idea how to do the till or the scales. Didn't know any of the numbers for the codes or anything. So all I had to do was go, ticket, yep, that number, yep, okay, make sure it's done, yep. Helen, is this okay? Fine. And then that was it.
So is it something that you'd thought about getting into? Because like, I'll be honest, my first job was working on the entertainment desk at Woolworths, which was a
Showing your age now.
was a high street store in the UK which sold everything from pots and pans to like CDs
Lego
and
sets.
DVDs. That's
Yeah.
that's the section that I was on.
And good pick and mix, yeah.
Yeah, good pick and mix. I know a few people that got sacked because they were nicking the pick and mix. I wasn't one of them. But like for me, it was a Saturday job, and it was something that I turned up, did a few hours on a weekend, and then went home and carried on with the rest of my life. And it gave me kind of the pocket money that I needed to do everything else that I wanted to do. Yeah. At no other point did I think I'm going to work in retail or in Woolworths later down the line. Had you thought that about butchering?
No, not at the start. So I started off as Monday and Saturday, and then I ended up doing more hours throughout the holidays, like summertime, doing more hours, more money, so I could go out with my friends, do stuff and things like that. And then I realised I was enjoying it more than my actual college course.
Okay.
So I started doing it more, started being shown more, started learning more, and then I ended up just leaving college halfway through a year and doing an apprenticeship.
And what was it that was kind of really like interesting to you? Because it's more than just a butcher's, right? Isn't it? It's like there's deli, they've got cheese counter. Talk to us a bit more about the store and what was it that gave you the kind of the buzz?
So at the time it was Simon, my boss. He would make, he'll get random pieces of meat, like let's say a shoulder of lamb. He'll debone it whole, which was fascinating when I first started because I didn't know how to do it. And he'll make it look like, I don't know, like the crown jewels. Mm-hmm. He'll garnish it. He'll put a load of stuff on it to make it look 10 times better than what it was. And it just flipped a switch at me, made me realise, oh, you can actually make it look nicer than what it is. So I thought to myself, oh, I kind of want to do that.
Yeah.
Making, as Simon calls it, I'm pretty sure I'm getting the phrase wrong, a sour's purse out of a sour's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Or a purse out of a sour's ear.
Yeah,
something along the lines.
It sounds good.
Yeah,
and it's animal based.
He's Cockney. He's a bit hit and miss sometimes with him, but he's a great guy. There's a lot of the old sayings, but says it all the time.
Because, like, do you feel like you had a moment like that when you were working in kitchens and things, and you suddenly you saw something that just made you think, I want to do this for the rest of my life, or I want to do this as my career?
Yes and no. It was a crook in my neck. It was my first Saturday job in a pub, and I was on pot wash. But I was straining my neck, constantly looking over my shoulder at the kitchen, doing fun stuff while I was doing the pot wash, which is an integral part of any kitchen. But I was more interested in what was going on over there, and then kind of had a go at that too, and fell in love with the kitchen brigade and the teamwork. And I think that's what any business, it's the team that you're working with as well. And it sounds like your boss is able to teach you loads. How big is the team at the butcher's?
So when I first started, there was like 4 butchers full time. 2 servers at the shop, and then 2 Saturday kids now and again. Now there's 3 butchers, an apprentice, a pot wash, and the pot wash does so much more than just being a pot wash.
Mm-hmm. As is always the case.
Yeah. And then we have 1 doing the pack counter, and then 2 servers. And then we have the deli staff, which there's so many of them. So many. There's like 5 or 6.
Testament to a busy shop with lots of customers.
Busy. Yeah.
So, what's that learning curve like, going from operating the till in the butchers and seeing all the meat kind of come past you, and you're kind of watching what's happening like behind the scenes? It's like, what's that learning curve like when you go, I want to try my hand at cutting that up, at butchering those animals? Like, how does that work?
It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice, because for me it was I always remember this: shoulder of pork deboned. And
any shoulder, it's a really awkward joint, isn't it?
It's just the blade bone in it is so awkward. So the first time I deboned it, I did an alright job. Not the best, but it was alright.
Sellable?
Yeah, sellable. Yeah.
Perfect.
Tick. We made it sellable.
And scrape what's missing off the bone into some sausages or some meatballs, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And my boss, Simon, he made sure on my tying, I tell this to everyone, every week, because we do butchery schools now. So we teach people how to do butchery, come in for an evening and all that stuff. Always say the same story. It will be, do a shoulder of pork, just strings, all done. Show Simon, make sure it's okay with him, see if he does, because he's my mentor. He'll go, oh, it's a bit wonky. Even if one knot is above or below, cut them off. Redo it. I remember getting it perfect. Best you can get. Cut them off. Maybe do it again.
Practice makes perfect.
Perfect. Cut it. Do it again. It wasted an hour of his time. But now, every time I do a pork shoulder, perfect every time.
But
practice makes perfect.
If you think about a classic, and maybe in our minds it's kind of arcing back decades or a century to the butcher shop in every village and town, and you walk past, and ultimately it's lots of pieces of meat, and they're not particularly attractive unless you do those wonderful dressing and trussing kind of opportunities, like to turn it into something that a normal home cook will walk past and say, that looks delicious, even in its raw form. I'll take one. And that's quite an art form. Like, what in the shop are you doing large volumes of versus those things that are nicely trussed up that might be a Sunday roast and stuff? But what are the kind of stuff that you're doing day in, day out that makes up so much of your time?
Sausages. I make 7 lots of sausage every Tuesday and Thursday. So we have to mince them once, get all the weights, mince them first, get all the ingredients for each single one, which is so many ingredients, and then add them in, mix them, then mince them again, and then put them through the machine. And you have to do them relatively quickly so they don't firm up, because when you add breadcrumb or anything like that, it firms up straight away. So you have to be really, really quick. So they're the most time-consuming, but the most, let's say, profitable.
And satisfying, because everyone loves, whether it's breakfast, lunch or dinner, it's a universal cut.
Yeah.
And you've become so good at making sausages that you're now the chief sausage maker at the butcher's. Is that right?
That's true.
Have you got a business card? I feel like that would look really good on a business card.
I don't, but I'll get you one next time.
That is such a good job title, though. Chief sausage maker. We've been talking about, we kind of like, we do a lot of the on-camera stuff, but we also have like roles like elsewhere within Sorted, like to try and make everything happen. We were trying to think about what our interesting or exciting job titles could be. I've always been the chief taster. Yep. That's kind of been my role.
You've graduated into that one, haven't you?
Yeah, I kind of ate my way into it. I think is probably the best way of describing it. Well, what else do you think we could give you as a job title?
Chief cleaner.
Chief cleaner.
Chief fusser.
Definitely chief fusser.
I do a lot of fussing.
Yeah, chief fussing officer. I think is probably a good one.
I can believe that.
Barry's always been a CDO. Chief Dossing Officer. He just doesn't really do much.
That's fine. We have one of them as well.
But he does it with confidence.
Yeah, and Mike's actually been our CTO for quite a long time, Chief Toilet Officer. It's where he spends most of his time. So
Yeah.
Segueing from most of his time to most of your time, Billy,
Yeah.
like what is, other than I think lots of early starts, which I think you think of butchers and bakers, like they're up at the crack of dawn and they crack on. You're probably in those early shifts, and they're quite peaceful. I used to remember doing breakfast shifts in hotels and being the first in and doing that first shift before anyone can really annoy you, distract you, get on your nerves. You've just got a whole bunch of your day done.
Yeah.
But what does your average day, if there is such a thing, look like from the moment you open up?
We open at 8:30, but we're normally there probably 7. Sometimes, some of us, depending on the amount of staff, if anyone's on holiday or anything, we get a bit early. Boss is off, I'll come in at 6:30, put the counter on, make sure it looks nice and everything. But then after that, we sort the delivery out. And then after that, we just crack on with what we have to do, depending on the day. So Tuesday, for example, we get things ahead for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And then we do pack counter, like chicken thighs, drumsticks, whole chickens, get all them ready, put out. So we have a daily schedule of things we need to do. It's pretty much the same, but sometimes it would change to like certain products that we make or do or put out.
So you say that you were at college and you left halfway through college year to go and do this full time and as an apprenticeship. What were like all of your other mates doing at the time, and what did they think about you moving into this world of butchery? Because was it unusual? Because to me, that if one of our mates had gone into being a butcher, that would have been an unusual path to take.
I drove past every day the butcher's little brown that I'm working at now. Never knew it was there before I actually started working there. But they didn't really think much of it because everyone had Saturday jobs. Everyone started jobs around 16.
Something to get pocket money at that point.
Yeah, just get a bit of money so we can go out on the weekends, go fishing, or when we used to ride our bikes around and do all that type of stuff. But they didn't really think that it would become of anything, because I think I'm the only one in my friendship group that have kept their jobs since they first started.
Yeah.
But most of the lads, they've done their jobs, they've done the Saturday jobs, and they moved on to something better that they wanted to do. But me, I really enjoyed it, so I've just stuck to it.
You say stuck at the job or kind of like kept with it, but it's a lot more than that. I mean, obviously you've been a part of the competition. So Young Butcher of the Year, you're a runner-up in that. What on earth does that competition entail? And Mike's asked us to ask you because it's playing on all of our minds, but what actually is that competition? It's like the Olympics of butchery.
Yeah. Is it like a pentathlon where you've got 10 different events that you have to go through?
I wish that would have been more exciting. But no, so you get a judge, you get assigned a judge, and they come in at a certain time, and they just see if you can serve, basically do all the things a butcher should be able to do: serve the public, know their knowledge, like show their knowledge, know how to cut meat. So I had an old chap. He watched me do a Dorchester rib, and he was quite impressed with that. So I thought I was quite impressed with that as well. Just saying. And then he watched me serve. But whilst I was serving, my dad's cousin walked past and shouted from the front of the shop, "You all right, Bill? How you doing?" I was like, you all right? You know what I mean? Didn't really go well. But then no, it's just basically just show that you can do your job, do it correctly.
Various disciplines of different cuts.
Yeah. Make sure you're not wasting anything, because a lot of butchery, you can't waste anything. You need to get a lot of yield from what you do. So like deboning and stuff, you need to get as much meat off the bone as you can to make more money as you can. Yeah, makes sense.
And how big are the rivalries between like you and the other competitors? I mean, I've been watching a lot of like Netflix sports documentaries like Drive to Survive and Full Swing and things like that, and they're all really friendly until they get into the car, or like, is it as soon as you pick up your knife you're like, right, this is it, we are sworn enemies?
No, I didn't know anyone there. Okay. So, me and the other guy, so we both stood on the platform. And he was taking photos for his like work social media, and I was taking photos of mine. I was like, "No, he seems like an alright lad." So I gave him a hug and said, "Well done, matey." And he said, "Well done" to me. And then we took a photo. He'd been doing really well. There's no rivalry. But I think most butchers get along really well. So,
but if Netflix were to make a documentary about it,
I would destroy everyone.
Lots of flashing lights and big dramatic music.
I would win.
Perfect.
I have the chainmail.
How do you even train for something like that? Is it just years and years and years of practice?
Yeah,
Because
just-
presumably you didn't know what you were going to be asked
Yeah.
to do, so it was all a surprise on the day.
I actually didn't know I was doing any of it. So Sarah and Simon both spoke about it to themselves, and then told me like 2 days in advance that the guy was coming. He was like, "Oh yeah, we put you towards this." I was like,
Surprise.
"Oh right, oh, okay, thank you." Like, there's me not thinking I would like do really well. I thought everyone was probably better than me, and they'd be really good at their cuts and stuff. And then they come, and I was like, "Oh, you're right, mate. How you doing?" Just being really polite and really like friendly, because that's basic who I am. Just really friendly, really nice, and all that stuff. And it turns out I'm runner up.
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've been doing a little bit of stalking on Instagram, and we saw that not too long ago you did an exchange as well to Lyon, which is an amazing foodie city from
Oh,
again
the city,
not
not the fast food chain.
no with a Y.
Yeah, fine, right, cool. Yeah.
So as an exchange, like hugely foodie city, what were you learning there that is so different in Lyon from perhaps what you've been learning in the Midlands?
So in Lyon, we had a lot of on the bone carcass. So because as a company we have a wholesale and a shop, so we can get things off the bone easier for us to just trim and then get ready. So over there, I learned a lot more on the bone stuff, like taking it all off the bone, trimming it, hanging things. Even I learned more things about sausages and stuffings and things like that.
Different flavour combinations,
Yeah.
ratios,
Yeah.
like what?
So there was a product there. I'm not a massive fan of mustard.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a rabbit, which rabbits for us, we chop them up into halves and sell them. That's all that we do with them. Over there, Remy, my French counterpart, who taught me so much, he showed me a whole rabbit deboned, which I thought was incredible because
then you can roll them and they're less fiddly and
yeah. So he rolled him with a pork, salt, pepper. I rolled it all up. He put mustard line on the top, so when you roll it, cool fat to cover it, so the innards of a pig washed, and another line of whole grain mustard. And he cooked one off. I'm not a massive fan of mustard. It was probably the best thing I've eaten in my life.
Really?
I ate so much when I was there. So much. It was probably the best thing I've ever had.
yeah.
And did you get the chance to? Sorry if this sounds. Did you get the chance to skin a rabbit?
No.
You did. Because we did this a few years. We went down to Borough Market, and it was you
Many years ago,
you and
Barry and I,
you and Baz, and we're learning about how to skin a rabbit. And the was he a butcher?
Yeah, Andrew Sharp, butcher and farmer.
Butcher and farmer.
Yeah, all farmers know how to do that.
The way he described how to skin a rabbit was the best description I've ever heard.
Made Barry go literally wobbly at the knees.
Skinning rabbit, simple, exactly the same as skinning a cat. And he just left it at that.
And Barry literally didn't know what to do with that. But it's so important. Like the reason we did that was because it's so important to understand like where your food comes from, and whether you eat meat or not, or any food in fact, understanding its origins is key. When you mentioned earlier about accepting deliveries into the shop, like where are those coming from, and in what size is a delivery? Because are you getting whole or half carcasses in, or is it already to some extent prepped?
So we get deliveries from our head office. So they get their big deliveries, like on the bone stuff, like half cows, half pigs, whole lambs. We get it broken down. But the delivery we had this morning, which I had to put away before I came here, was probably 3 ton of meat.
How quickly will that sell? 3 tons worth of meat.
Probably most of it will sell by the weekend.
Wow.
That's a busy shop.
Yeah.
And how popular, and how do things change? Because like nose to tail cookery is really important, and understanding different parts of the animal, the carcass, right the way down to sort of offal and things. But how have you found in the shop, doing the maths, 8 years that you've been working there, how's habits changed? What are people interested in buying now that perhaps they weren't 8 years ago, or vice versa, was really popular, people have forgotten, and maybe we should sort of discover again?
So not a lot has changed really, but a lot of things that we used to do on the bone, and a lot of people like would buy things on the bones for long stew or anything like that. Most of it now comes off the main bone, but it still has the small bones in them.
Mm-hmm.
So they would use that instead of paying for the extra bone that they wouldn't use. But at the same time, tomahawk
Okay.
steak seems to be a lot popular now than back then.
Do you think that's a social media thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a social media thing.
It's also a showcase, kind of showstopper thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? Of like, it's very much friends or family over for barbecues or roasts, and it's very much put down as a centerpiece celebration, and it gets the wow.
Personally, I don't see the point in them. As a butcher and I don't see the point. You're paying for the bone.
Yeah.
You might as well just get a Côte de Boeuf or a Dorchester rib that we do, single rib. You get the exact same cut without the longer bone, so you're not paying for the bone. It's easier to cook as well.
That's the advice. That's the kind of advice I really like, because it does look good.
Yeah.
But if all you're paying for
Is
is
the bone.
for it to look good rather than any extra flavour or any extra meat, then
And presumably
it's going to look good on Instagram, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
cooking meat on a bone is always going to be a little bit tastier, but I think to your point is like having a use for that bone afterwards in stocks and things, and if that's not being done so much anymore, then the convenience of having a skilled butcher do that for you, take the bone off and have the prime cut makes more sense.
Well, 9 out of 10 times, the customer that always orders a tomahawk steak for a barbecue in the summer asks us to cut the bone down anyway. They'll get us to cut a normal Côte de Boeuf size, and then, well, what do you want us to do with this?
It's because they realise it doesn't fit
And
in
they
their
go,
fridge.
and they go, no, I don't want it. So we're like, well, we're still going to, like, we bought it, got it in for you for the extra bone.
Yeah.
We're still going to charge you for it because it's cost us money to get it in for you. But you
Yeah,
could have had
absolutely.
but people don't see that though.
How much of that is an education when you're customer facing, the ability to kind of like explain that to people, the same as, you know, a dry aged bit of beef that obviously you're buying in and perhaps aging and it's shrinking, but you've still got to pay for everything that was bought, and the bone is another example. How much of that do you think people are interested in hearing and willing to learn, or is it kind of just offset to you guys? You do it, it's your profession, we want it easy.
Most people will listen to us. So basically, all of us people that serve, we all serve. So if someone asks for a tomahawk, we'll go, you could have a tomahawk, but for cheaper reasons, you could have a Côte de Boeuf, which is the exact same, but as well a longer bone. 9 out of 10 times people will go, oh yeah, I'll have a Côte de Boeuf.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's the exact same, but I'm not paying extra for the bone, that's fine. But you will get the odd person that would want the long bone just because he wants to show off or she wants to show off.
Having the rapport with the butchers, I mean, you've got a good butcher near you that you use occasionally, don't you?
Yeah, the butchers near me is really good because, again, it's the kind of butcher you can go in and have a conversation with. Or when I phoned them up and said, like, I was looking to do pork shoulder, and I was going to feed sort of, it was about 15 people or something like that. I was going to put it on the barbecue. How big do you think I need it? And what kind of cut? And he actually recommended me, he was like, oh, we'll get you the rib and I think it was the rib and the shoulder part in. And about 5 kilos should be good. And it was the most beautiful piece of meat. It took 18 hours for me to smoke it, and it was unbelievable. But it was brilliant because a couple of weeks later I went back in, and I don't go in there that often, but I went back in. He was like, how was the shoulder?
Yeah.
Was it good? Did you save me? And like, just having that kind of rapport and that relationship is so much more personable and makes you feel like you can ask for advice. Because okay, on the channel I'm known as more of the meat guy, but I don't know as much as I would like to when it comes to different cuts of meat, how to get the best out of them. You know, things like knowing that a Côte de Boeuf is the same as a tomahawk but without the bone. Well, actually that's really useful. I'd love to know that. And when it sounds like you're very much on the side of the customer in that education part, because you could very easily just go, have the tomahawk, extra £5
exactly.
for us. But you're kind of always looking out for the customer side of things, because you want them to come back and experience that good meat.
Well, I don't see the point of ripping people off. I think as a company, we don't see, if something's wrong or like we made a mistake, we'd always go, we're sorry. And then if people want stuff and we have to get it in, we'll always try. Like we have our head office, we do hot dogs, like maple cured hot dogs. Ooh. In the summer, we can't get enough of them. They're amazing, but they're a summer product. So I spoke to a guy called Danny Old. He makes sausages at O'Brien at our head office for catering. So he would make them only in summer, because that's the only time that the customers will want them in the summer. Mm-hmm. I was like, Danny, can I get 10 kilo of maple cured hot dogs, please? There you go. Well, yeah, go on then. It's like, yes. And then just because one lady, she only wanted 2. She only wanted 2 maybe killed hot dogs. I bought a 10 kilo in, which is a lot of sausages. We ended up selling all of them because it was really hot. I was like, yes, sold all of them, and like, yes, I won't get moaned at, yes.
It's interesting. The weather must be such a big factor, because it will literally change from we'll stay in and cook something inside and we'll do a stir fry to the sun's out, get the barbecue out, let's get down to the butchers. So you guys must have to almost have a crystal ball to know what the weather's going to do, as well as what time of year, whether it's certain celebrations, Mother's Day, Father's Day, big celebrations where people are wanting key things.
So we have like a schedule upstairs in the office, like when certain days are like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that stuff, so we can work towards it. But then we always check the weather forecast to make sure it's not, if it's raining, people are going to want like things inside, long, slow cooks. If it's barbecue weather, kebabs and burgers, sausages. But then we always check every day, because it might change. Because I remember this. My boss was off. I was like, let's make some boerewors, traditional South African sausage. We sell a lot of it in the shop in the summer. So I'll make 5 kilo. It's raining. Someone's ordered some. Fine. Ended up being really, really hot the weekend. And because people had saw it in the counter, they didn't buy it then. So they left. Said, I'll pick some on the weekend. Thinking we had loads. No, I had to make an emergency 15 kilo batch.
Just casually whip out another 15 kilo.
I had to make a 15 kilo batch.
This is an emergency call for the chief sausage maker. We need the chief sausage maker urgently. Yeah.
It was more like, Billy, get sausages, boerewors now. I'm like, okay.
Now, on the topic of sausages, you brought us some.
Yep.
We've cooked them off.
Have you burnt them?
I hope not.
Good.
Should we try them?
I hope you've not found them, Evers.
Yep.
So what sausages have you brought us?
So we've got the Bumblebee, the Warwickshire Whizzer, and the Leamington Royal.
Okay, let's see if we can guess. The Bumblebee's got to be with honey, right?
Must be. Yeah, well, hopefully it's not bee.
That's true.
It'd have a real buzz to it, wouldn't it? A real sting.
A sting. Maybe it's got a sting. Maybe it's chili and honey.
Yeah, or
like a sting.
The things. The bzzz.
Szechuan buds.
Those ones.
Okay, yeah. What's a wizard?
The Warwickshire Whizzer.
Whizzer.
Oh, that sounds like it's got cheese in it.
That could be a fine.
Is it whizzy cheese?
Whizzy cheese, or it's spice.
Herby.
Very herby.
Go on, you lean forward, let's have a sausage.
These bloody chairs.
What's great about that, and as soon as I cut it, was just how meaty it is, and how firm it is, and how cooking it, they are bangers, but they didn't go bang.
Yeah.
They didn't split. They kind of wholly contained, really, really meaty, and then delicious.
Do you want to know why they're called bangers?
Go on then.
So when you make a sausage, you don't cook it 24 hours before. If you cook it 24 hours before, the skin doesn't set with the meat. That's why they burst. That's why it's called bangers.
Ah, so literally, if you make it and cook it immediately, you've got to.
That's where
we've made sausages twice on the channel, and both times, because the nature of what we do in the studio, we've made them and cooked them and gone, we could probably get a bit better at this. Yeah. And now we know.
Yeah, leave them 24 hours, or depending on what's in them, leave 24 hours and then cook them.
I've tried all of them.
So we played some guessing games, but now tell us what was in them.
So,
if you're allowed to reveal the secret, that is absolutely delicious.
I can give you the main. I won't give you the actual
the ratio
percentages and all that.
It's
stuff.
like 13 special herbs and spices, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Leamington Royal is mixed herbs, a little bit of paprika. Just a hint of paprika, nothing too spicy. The Warwickshire Whizzer, chili and paprika. It's a nice spicy sausage.
Really good.
It'll sell loads of them in the summer. And then the Bumblebee, minced up bumblebees.
Oh, it is bumblebees. There we go. Save the planet. you joke. What is it?
It's honey and mustard.
Oh, honey
nice.
But it's whole grain mustard and mustard powder. So you get a bit of mustard, but mainly the honey.
Lovely. And what is it that you look for in a great sausage? Like meat to fat. Why is everyone laughing? That is such a... We have a chief sausage maker. I'm going to ask you what makes a great sausage.
I feel offended.
Keep your giggles to yourself.
As a chief sausage maker, what do you look for in a great sausage?
The fat content.
Okay.
Because you can't make a sausage too fat or too lean. Because if you make it too lean, they don't last as long. There's no flavour. But then, if you have too much fat, it's too fatty. It's not nice.
So is there like a percentage that you aim for?
We roughly run 10% fat.
Okay.
With all the meat and then the herbs and everything as well.
And the casings nowadays, are they?
They're all natural hog
natural
casings. So the thick pork we'll use for natural, or like thick sausages, natural hog casings.
Mm-hmm.
We do collagen skins on certain orders if people want collagen skins or they don't want, one for religious reasons.
Yep.
They can't have pork, so we have to do a lamb sausage in a collagen skin. And then other reasons, I don't like collagen skins. One, it's a horrible thing to work with, and two, natural is better to cook and to eat.
I think we could put sausages on our bar snack menu.
Without a doubt.
Because you have brought, for our bar snacks for this episode, sausage rolls. Now, you brought sausage rolls knowing that we had the chief sausage maker coming in.
Yeah.
So does this mean that you're incredibly proud of your sausage roll and you're willing for Billy to try it and judge it?
I mean, absolutely. It's a different flavour. So I've gone for lamb. So it's a lamb, apricot and harissa sausage roll. All butter puff pastry. I mean, you guys do pies, like pork pies and sausage rolls.
Pork
and
pies, Scotch eggs,
like all the classics
pasties
in the deli, along with great cheeses.
Yep.
So, this was my offering before we knew you were bringing your own sausages, which were excellent. I feel like we probably should have a slice each.
Yeah, do you want some sausage roll?
Yeah, why not? Thank you. Oh, there's not much space.
I feel like a good pub should have a good snack menu, and there's no harm in having a decent sausage roll, Scotch egg on the end of the bar, along with the pork scratchings.
But runny egg or firm runny.
I go runny.
Gooey. Like not running, so it's like making a mess, but not hard and overcooked.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers. Would it pass?
You would pass.
Needs a little bit of recipe development, but
bit dry.
But could do with a bit more of the
bit of salt. Actually, I reckon.
You get the spice from the harissa and the apricots. So
the sweetness from the apricot.
Yeah, that's nice.
As a butcher, do you have your own favourite cut of meat?
Yeah.
Is there something that you will always go for? And is there something that you will keep back for the end of the day and take home?
Well, I'll pay for it, honestly.
Wow. Obviously.
So if it's summertime, I love a T-bone or a sirloin on the bone. As long as it's got the nice sirloin, but in the wintertime, it's more like ox cheek.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because ox cheek, long and slow. I'll put it on first thing in the morning before I go to work, and it'll be ready by the time I get back.
Like when you say put it on, like what's that with?
Slow cooker. I just ram everything in there. Carrots, potatoes. Just leave it in long and slow. Let it all cook.
We've used pig's cheeks a bit. We have used ox cheeks, but not for a long time.
Was it ox cheek that Cush did at the team offsite that we did last year?
Yes.
That was ox cheek. That was
brine and then cooked. Yeah. Phenomenal food. Because I think it's like, it changed over time. As a chef, I remember a long time ago, 10, 15 years ago, things like lamb shanks and pork belly were like dirt cheap, really flavourful cuts, and that's what you do. And then gastropubs made them really popular, and price goes up. So it's kind of knowing what is that next. And I think like offal is kind of there. Like not enough people probably are using offal. Do you go through much offal in the shop?
We sell quite a lot of offal recently. I actually had lamb's liver last night, so we cooked it all nice, and then I came into work today. And I was like, I'll get some more lambs for tomorrow night. We sold out. We sold 3 kilo of lamb's liver.
And is that because it's quite an affordable cut? And I mean, people are obviously watching their spending at the moment and being careful with the pennies they spend. And we've always said on the channel, like, we should all be eating less meat, but we should be eating better quality meat and making sure that, you do a good cut at a weekend or something and stretch out other things throughout the week. But offal is a great example of not only being hugely nutritious, but cheap and affordable. I think your first shout on chicken wings as well falls into that category.
Well, you can get a kilo of chicken wings for $7.95, and you get a lot of chicken wings in for a kilo. They
bulk it out with celery, you've got a whole meal.
No, there's no need for this.
You burnt me sausage.
This might be a bit of a weird question, I suppose, but with the rise of plant-based foods, veganism as a kind of lifestyle, and vegetarianism, have you seen much pushback against sort of the world of butchery and kind of meat eating? Has that moved into that world?
I wouldn't say it's affecting us a lot, we sell a lot of vegetarian options, and like the pasta and things are all like plant-based and all that stuff. So it doesn't really affect us as much.
I think it's also seen as an incredible craftsmanship. Like it's an artisanal craft. It's one of those things that as a profession has been around since day dot, and is kind of therefore probably respected more. And it might be that supermarket meat sales are going down, but I think people who are already using butchers are probably continuing to do so, knowing they're getting quality stuff.
Well, I just remember so we had an experience in France a couple of years ago. We went to Paris, and we were with like the French Ministry of Agriculture and Farming, and so they were showing us around. We went to this incredible market, Europe's biggest produce market, is it? And just the amount of food, and they were sort of showing us how they sort of butcher all the animals. And after that, considering this was like 5 o'clock in the morning by this point, we kind of walked around the market. They went, "Oh, we've put on a meal for you," and we were like, "Great, breakfast." Sat us down in this steak restaurant and started to pop open bottles of red wine, and then they started to bring out plates of beef carpaccio, and we're sitting there going, "This is the best breakfast ever."
We'd been up since 3 a.m, so this was like maybe 6 hours into our day, but even so, it was a bold breakfast choice.
And there were a couple of people around the table who were vegetarian, and they're sort of putting up their hands and went, "I'm sorry, is there a vegetarian option?" And the waiters,
are you going to put on the French accent?
I don't know.
Go on,
and the waiters just went, "Oh no, do not worry. We have cut it very thinly for you. It is fine." And that was their way of going. The vegetarian option is just very thinly cut beef rather than.
And the option for the main course was, "Don't worry, we can cook it well done for you." That was their response to that as an approach. Now
that's a beautiful response.
It's great.
And in terms of a culture in France so set in its wonderful history and legacy around all sorts, but butchery in particular, what was the one thing that you learnt in Lyon that you perhaps have brought back and do differently now? Was there any new sort of sausage recipes, or any of the new kind of the use of cool fat, or anything that you learnt there that you mentioned that you have brought back?
They do a boiling sausage. They use a really thick casing. So the normal hog casings, the thin casings, which are sheep, but they use a massive like black pudding ring casing, which they stuff with pork, salt, and pepper. That's it. They leave to hang for two days. And there's a boiling, so you get it as a piece or you get it as slices. You can boil it and then serve it with some we call it dauphinoise potatoes. They do the exact same but call it a different name. I can't remember the name.
Gratin, a potato gratin or something. But boiled, because we would always, you think it's all about the grill, the sizzle in the pan, the colour on the skin. That's kind of what we associate and look for. But
they boil it. And I tried it. It's amazing. Like, it's not too much salt, not too much pepper. Perfect balance, but you get everything. You get the pork, you get the salt, pepper. 9 out of 10 times here, you just get the flavouring. You don't get much of the pork. So you add things to it, like we added the honey and mustard. You just get them, but over there you just get the pork, salt, pepper. A perfect balance of the three.
Yeah, nowhere to hide. It's got to be the best quality and done perfectly. But
definitely.
Super interesting.
And they're so strict with their butchery as well. Like if you make a mistake. You like Remy, the guy that my counterpart, he made a little mistake. He was so angry with himself because they go college there. They college for like 2 years and then they work in a shop, or they try and get a place in the shop. It's so different over there. It's amazing.
We heard as well that they do sort of different cuts of meat than we have, so they
not just translations of different words, but actually different cuts.
They actually cut the carcass in different ways to get, so that you have like a French cut of X, Y, and Z.
So they do. So we don't do it as we can get it, but it takes a few days' notice. They do like on repeat brisket on the bone. Every butcher can do it, but not every butcher does it standard. But they do it consistently, or like chuck, like a long chuck roast on the bone. We don't do that, but they do it like it's nothing. They get a lot of things on the bone and keep it on the bone as long as they can to sell it, because that's what they sell, a lot of on the bone.
Is there much when it comes to sort of what you sell, aside from the seasons of weather and with sort of things of barbecues or slow cooks, is there a seasonality that you guys showcase around what you're selling in terms of game or rabbit. Does that change much across the year? Is there much demand for it?
In the game season, when we can get it in, we sell a lot of it. But after the season's over, people still want it because some people don't know that the season's over. So when we do say, the season's over now,
It's hard to get hold of. It's a bit more.
We can get it, but it'll most likely be frozen. But a lot of people don't want frozen. But you get the old customer goes, oh yeah, I'll have it frozen. Yeah, as long as I have it frozen, I can freeze it.
Mm-hmm.
But not a lot of people want it frozen, defrosted, so they have to cook it. You can get rabbit and venison all year round, really.
Yep.
It's just the other birds.
I could sit and talk to you about meat literally all day because I find it fascinating, and especially all of the different cuts and everything we do. But we have one final question that we always ask every guest, and that is, if you could recommend one dish for anyone to cook before they die, what would it be?
Steak tartare, like you said. I've never done it myself, but I've always seen videos and chefs doing it on my Instagram. It looks amazing to do. It looks easy to do as well, but it's so easy to cook up.
Yeah.
So, wait, can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it, yeah. Steak tartare.
Steak tartare.
Now that relies on having and knowing a good butcher and a good sauce of beef, and then it's balance of seasoning. So get yourself up to Leamington Spa and get Billy to sort you out with a steak.
Billy, this has been amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing sausages. And again, I am really sorry about the sausage rolls.
We'll work on it. We'll
work on it. Invite me back next time. We'll talk about it.
We'll get up to an 8 out of 10.
Definitely. Thank you.